Working on a 2003 Lexus Lx470, so it's the V8. Simply put, this just needs a water pump. It don't need it, but I'm replacing it anyway. What really happened was the bracket for the clutch fan failed. And I've replaced a couple of these, not a lot of them. Let me show you. Where's that joker at? Here we go. There we go, right there. This is it. The bearings and stuff are just making noise. You can hear it. So this failed. That's what I'm working on. I'm replacing that, but this guy has over 200,000 miles on it, and I saw some seepage in the back of the water pump. Hold on, where's that at? I just got stuff everywhere. And I was like, hey, I went in there, do you want to replace the water pump? I saw that a little bit, and I'm just like, you know what? Quote him and see if he wants to do it. And then he takes good care of his stuff, for the exception of, the radiators, original. This is going to definitely be the next project. Anyway, I digress. The water pump is getting replaced, and I just kind of want to watch myself work. Put the water pump on them, see if I can get a good angle on it. I got an import direct line time belt water pump, which is great. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. This comes with, when I tell you some really basic instructions, these are pretty much useless. It's just generic information when putting a water pump on. But the good thing is it comes with new bolts. It's come with new bolts. If you decide to use them, I'm going to use the factory ones. It comes with a new gasket, but the amazing thing about the gasket is it's steel. It's not the composite style gaskets that you would typically get, and this gasket for the water pump itself is steel. Actually, MLS, multi-layer steel. So it's not that cheap composite gasket you'll get. Come with new seals, new O-rings. So 2 new O-rings, definitely a must in this situation because the other ones on there were rotted out and broken. Of course, we got our new water pump, brand new. We got new idlers and tensioners. Oh gosh. That's a new gasket. A new tensioner pulley. And of course a new tensioner inside of there. So if you care, here's the part number once I find out where it's located. Let's import direct line. Oh, it's on here somewhere. Trust me. There's a part number on here. There's a part number right there. Here's the part number. Yeah, this came from O'Reilly's Auto Parts. Y'all know I have a bittersweet relationship with them, and the parts are they're hit or miss, but they take care of me. So, I continue to support their business. Import direct line is pretty. It's okay. I'm not going to act like I ain't ever have any problems out of it, but yeah, I got everything I need. The small O-ring's going to go here. Larger O-ring is going to go here. So I'm gonna get those replaced. And the best thing about this timing belt is that it comes with marks. So we got the R for the right hand, which is going to be the passenger side. And then we got the left, which is going to be the driver's side. We got marks where they're supposed to be. There's our timing marks. I put my white out here. That's where the mark's supposed to be. That's the passenger side. Here's the driver's side. So I'm going to put the timing belt. That mark is supposed to line up right here with that white line. The crank mark. There's a notch right there. That's what it needs to be lined up. But there's a mark on the timing belt for the crank. If I can see it. I'm gonna see if I can get a better view. I can't get a really good view, but there's a mark for the crank at the bottom here. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I just used the indention right at the top. That's what I'm using to line up with that dot. And I'm not going to worry about this lower mark here for the crankshaft. Yeah, right there. That's the crank. So that just needs to be facing the crank. I'm going to make sure the belt is facing the proper direction. The left is going to be right here. So we're going to put it on this way because the driver's side is the left side. Right side is going to be the passenger side. And so evidently it's going to be facing out towards the crank. So it's going to be facing towards the front of the engine. That's what it looks like. So either way, it needs to be facing towards the motor. So we're going to get the left side on, and then we'll get the right side. That's going to be last anyway, because I still got to get the water pump on. I got my surfaces cleaned up really good. And I'm just gonna watch myself. Honestly, just put the components on, the water pump, the seals, timing belt. You know, and then I'll just show this first startup. Hopefully I don't screw anything up like that last job I did. But I almost did. I didn't screw anything up, but it was just a hiccup. You know, despite me putting everything on right, things still happen. But it worked out good. Everything works perfectly great with that car. So let me get the camera set up. Let's put these things on. The worst thing you can do is forget to put that O-ring on there. It'd be a bad day. It wouldn't be surprised if somebody hasn't already done something like that. Put a little bit of dielectric grease around it. It went on perfect. It went on really good. So when I pulled the bolts off, I left them in a diagram fashion. So I'm just going to pull each individual bolt off and install them, go in an X pattern. And then I'll install the timing belt, put the bracket for the tensioner back on, serpentine belt tensioner. Then I get the alternator and stuff back on. But main thing I'm just going to show getting the timing belt and stuff on. So let me pull those bolts off. I'm reusing the old ones. I'm just going to clean the threads, torque the bolts down to 15 foot-pounds and the regular nuts to 13. I did pull the shield retainers off, like the screws. I'm gonna tighten these back up. These were just 10 millimeter. I pulled the cam sensor so I can get a little more clearance, so I can pull the water pump out. So I'm gonna tighten that back up. Just run a 10 back on there. Get those back tight. So all those are tight. I got. Yeah. Now all I gotta do, get the water pump. So the water pump's on. I just gotta get the bracket for the alternator and the tensioner. I'm just gonna call it a tensioner bracket. Once I get the time belt on, then I'll put that on. Keep on with the repair. Work on getting the tensioner for the time belt on. So we're gonna take the bushing, or the shaft, I want to call it, slide it right through here in the center. I just grease it up with a little bit of wheel bearing grease, so it wouldn't seize up or anything, or decrease the likelihoods of it happening. I've only had one seize up, and that was that. I think I wound up doing a video on that. It was the Hyundai Santa Fe. I want to say it was an H10 that went on for the timing belt tensioner pulley. This is the 14 millimeter that goes on the idler. Spins free, spins free. Now the only thing left is to get the belt on, get the time belt marks lined up appropriately. So it should be a 17, I want to say, and I'm going to use that to. I'm going to get this on last, so I'll make the proper adjustments. I'm going to primarily make sure the driver's side's on because that has a guide or a lip on it to prevent the belt from slipping. So we're going on the left side. So we flip it around, left driver. Pull back. 17. Pull it back. There you go. Perfect. It's lined up. It's lined up. Tensioner. It's lined up perfect. So my timing marks are lined up. The crank mark you can't see at the bottom. So that white mark for the crank orientation, you can't really see it. So as long as my mark here is lined up properly, see that indentation at the back with the dot above it, that's fine. The marks here on the driver's side, the left is lined up. And then the right side lined up. That line right there. So we're good. Only thing left, I'm gonna install the tensioner for the timing belt down at the bottom, release the grenade pin, and administer some tension. So here's the tensioner. This is what came with the kit. Let's pull that out. It's the plain Jane. I guess it's a cast number or line NTN. So once I get it installed, I'll slide it in like so, pull the grenade pin. Well, you're more than welcome to spin the engine though if you want to at this point, but I'm pretty confident everything's in place. I think we're good. So I'm working on getting that bracket back on for the alternator, and then I'll this is probably can be like next to last, but I just don't want to take off the hose because I don't want to disturb the rubber hose of the clamp. But the only thing I would do, oh shoot, I got the coolant on the time belt. Let me clean that off. I got that clean back up. I had hit it with some brake cleaner. So the only thing I would do if I wanted a little bit more room was simply leave this off and install this next to last. But I still got a bunch of other things I can install and I don't have to fight around it. So I could install this next to last after I get all the timing cover components back installed. And I'm gonna do that, and then I'll show you, pretty much removing the seal, put the new gasket on here, and then mating it to the water pump housing and the bypass tube. So in the moment, let me work on getting all this stuff installed, and I guess I'll be back in about 35 minutes. So I got most of the stuff put back on, the timing cover, and I ain't gonna lie, I forgot to put the reluctant wheel on the base. The reluctant wheel is what picks up the crank signal and it gets sent back to the PCM. I forgot to put that on, even though I put it on the harmonic balancer. I just put it in the wrong order. So I put the timing cover on, then I was like, oh shoot, I forgot to put the trigger wheel or pickup wheel, reluctor wheel, whatever you want to call it, back on. But it wasn't no big deal. Pull the lower part of the timing cover back off, got it back on there, no problem. Here we go. And we got the O-ring on. I'm gonna put a little bit of dielectric grease on this also, make life a little bit easier. So it'll slide on and slide back off, no problem. Hopefully I shouldn't have to worry about doing this. Here's our gasket. I'm gonna get my bolts because I did put those down. Here they go. Put the gasket on the proper orientation. Nope, I did not put it on right. Oh gosh, and I got coolant on the serpentine belt. That ain't cool at all. I don't know why. See, I make mistakes. Put that bolt right through here. Hopefully, the coolant's not on the belt and it's going to make noise. Hopefully. So we'll see what happens with that. Sometimes you can get lucky, sometimes you can't. You know what I should have done? Put the hose on there first. Because I put the clamp at the bottom. Trust me, it's not this difficult. Obviously making it pretty difficult. My gasket fell out too. Thought I got all the coolant out, and evidently I didn't. So the gasket's in there. I'm gonna run the bolts in, and I'm gonna tighten them down as soon as I find my 12mm. Put my hose clamp back on. Pipe was a little too close to that belt. Let me hit it with some brake cleaner to get that oil off the belt, because it will start chirping. Hopefully I don't have this, because I don't even have no more brake cleaner. As weird as it is, like if oil gets in the belt, you know, it'll start squealing. But if you hit it with WD-40, it'll shut the belt up for squealing. It's kind of weird, but it's a different type of oil. The oil in the coolant, if you get on rubber, it could definitely compromise the rubber on the belt. call it the squeal. Hopefully this is not the case and I don't have to replace this belt. So what I'm gonna do, so we got the outlet or the thermostat housing back on. That's done. I got the shoulder timing belt, getting that back on. That's done. Only thing left is to put all the fan clutch back on and the intake hose and do the first startup. So give me a minute and I'll be right back. All right, everything's knocked out. This is like, I want to say about an hour later, I got everything knocked out. And mind you, I didn't tell you the labor time on this job. It is 5 hours, I think. I think I said that, but if I didn't, it's a 5-hour labor job to do the water pump on this. And I'll say it took around about that. I did clean up my mess. I used 4 cans of brake cleaner just to clean the area. Everything I pulled off, tried to clean up and put it back. And don't worry about some of the other stuff. I'm gonna get this cleaned up. But mainly the behind the timing cover, I got all that stuff cleaned up. So we're good. I don't have any coolant in there. I will check the oil level. This is just gonna be the first startup. It is about half a quart low, no big deal. It's been sitting for hours. Everything's in place. I just gotta top the coolant off. I'm gonna start it up, do the first startup. Hopefully everything works and I didn't break anything and screw anything up because I don't want to buy a motor. And yeah, so honestly, in hindsight, it'd probably been a good idea to spin the engine over when I put the time belt on. I should just learn my lesson, but anyway, let's do a first startup and that'll be it. Starts up beautifully, runs good. Now, the reason why I cut it off and cut it back on, sometimes if you start it up and you don't check anything, you just start it up and just let it run, you may have a pending code of P0016, like timing or like a crank cam correlation code or something. So I was just doing that to see if the check-in light will pop on. It didn't, but that doesn't mean that a code's not stored and I screwed up the timing. But it starts up great. As soon as you hit that key, boom, starts right on up. So we're good. We should be in good shape. It's just the manifold, some of the old oil and debris that blew over there after I kept spraying with brake cleaner and clean the area up. So that, like I said, it doesn't mean that there's no codes in there, but obviously it's a good idea to check. I think I showed what went wrong. Yeah, this thing, you can hear the bearings. Yeah, the bearings failed. I did get a Gates brand. Let me show you that. This is I get the more expensive version, FB1007. So I did get the fan clutch bracket. They did have another one. It's weird, but the Dorman had a lifetime warranty. This only had a 1-year warranty. But I mean, I only offer a 1-year warranty on for products anyway. And I'd imagine if I get a Gates brand, it's more expensive, then it'll be better. But that doesn't mean anything. Again, I only offer a 1-year warranty on labor. And if it fails, it's free for him. But I did get the more expensive brand, which was like $80 more expensive, which is like about $260 for this. So he did get a better quality. And I did show you the Import Direct brand belt that I got with the kit. I'm very satisfied with the kit. I wish all the timing components came with the steel gasket or the factory style gaskets. It would at least provide some reassurance that you're getting a quality part instead of those composite style gaskets. Now, I've used several Import Direct line water pump gaskets and time belt sets. And on one Toyota that I did, it was kind of has a little bit of seepage, but for the most part, the belts work great. Never had them break. It's just the water pumps you typically got to worry about. And now that Toyota Corolla video I did a long time ago, the water pump. For that, I put like 3 on there in a year. And that third one, that lady come by for oil changes, so I'm gonna have to check that. When I look at it, it concerns me every time I pop that hood, if it's potentially leaking or not. So I wouldn't be surprised if I have a little seepage. For the exception of the Corollas and that one Lexus, I want to say it's an RX 330. You know, the water pumps they're decent. You know, they do what they're supposed to do. The belts are great. They're Gates brand belt. They work great. Never had a belt break. Just the water pumps prematurely potentially fail. So again, this job 5 hours, went through it real smooth. Next thing I'll be doing is definitely a radiator when it comes back in a couple weeks, or whenever he decide to get that done. But tools that were used were a 12 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 14, and a 22 millimeter. I want to say 22 for the crank. Well, it's probably 7/8, but I had to use a 22. But it's probably 7/8 for the crank pulley. And I use a 17 to turn the camshafts, and that H10 to get the tensioner retainer bolt off. So H10, 10, 12, 14, 17, and 22, or 7/8. So, and that was it. And for the most part, again, it was pretty much smooth. I'm not in a rust belt or anything. This car is well maintained. I mean, it looks immaculate on the outside and inside. It looks great. Just age. It's 2003. I can't expect much. When I did pull off those hoses, I did put some dielectric grease on them so they'll go on and go off a little easier. If you know Toyotas, those hoses will get hard and brittle. At least it'll lessen the chances for the next guy and me if I have to go back through it. Just slide it right on off. So that dielectric grease helps a whole lot. So hopefully this belt's not going to squeal. I'm going to let this sit overnight. I'm going to fill the coolant up, let it run for a little bit, then I'll let it sit, and then chest drive everything so it'll be done, because I'm a day ahead for this truck anyway, because I got a bunch of other stuff I got to work on. But hey, if anything happened, I'll definitely update. Hit that link, subscribe to the channel, stay informed, how to reach us on my work. See you next one.